I started my master's thesis. Here's the thing, I'm in an online program for my master's thesis, and the way that they're structuring it, if you go in person, it's a master's thesis. If you go online, it's a master's essay, which is like the master's thesis for babies. I'm not gonna lie. Does that make my life easier? I mean, yeah, I have less stuff to write, but here's what irritates me. I talked to my professor ahead of time a little bit, and I started outlining a little beforehand. And I was outlining for like a legit long master's thesis. So I have like all these notes, and I had to pare it down to like just a few central topics that I was going to cover. In general, I feel like this master's program treats me like I'm an undergraduate student. Like I have to write this like one section at a time. They're babying how I'm writing it and like my writing process and stuff like that a little bit. And I'm just not into that. This professor wants me to, I mean, the goal is that you write your own argument, and I get that. She wants us to write the essay with the primary source cited first and then add in your secondary sources. And it's just, that's what I would do to my outlines. I would outline my primary sources, and then I would, within the context of my outline, I would throw in where my secondary sources would go or what relevant quotes fit into the conversation that I'm trying to have about the text. But like, that's outlining. And then I would just write the whole thing after that. I didn't like, let's write the essay with just the primary source and then do the secondary source. I say that there's valid in that method, but I just feel like I'm 28 years old. Why are you telling me how to do it? Because when I was an undergraduate, it was just write the paper, here's some tips, do what you want. And it didn't matter about the process as much as it mattered that it was done and if it was good or not. So here's the thing, I have some minimizing to do. I have pages and pages of notes that I took. What I'm going to do today, I have my 3 main topics. I wrote my introduction. I think I have my thesis. I'm going to take pieces of evidence that I wanted to focus on with some notes next to it. And I just need to organize them because I have my 3 sections. Like this is a section, this is a section. I don't think that the pieces of evidence that I have, I'm not necessarily going to need all of them. And the ones that I am going to use, I just need to rearrange. I need to actually envision the flow of the paper rather than just, I'm going to talk about this in this giant 4-page section, you know? Instead, I need to think about, okay, but what is the flow of those 4 pages? What do I start with for this section? What's the middle? What's the end? And you do that for all 3 sections. I think I know where I'm going with the conclusion. I think I understand the point that I'm making for sure. I'm not really worried about that. I'm just supposed to, for now, work on the body. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. So let's outline my paper about Hill House, y'all. So after some rearranging, I have the skeleton of evidence for the first topic. My plan is always overkill first in the outline, and then whatever I don't need, some of it I'm just going to paraphrase anyway. Like, it's just plot parts, and if I just need to borrow a word or two, I can. So this will be fine. And now I gotta do this 3 more times. I've been procrastinating for 17 minutes because the next section is the longest. So I've mentioned before that I just don't really like the order of how I'm expected to write my master's thesis, you know, my outlining process versus the one from the professor, and how I feel like I'm just kind of too old to be babied in this way, but whatever. I rewrote the entire introduction. I don't think it was that good. And I have written like half of the core of it at this point, using my outline. I didn't use the entire outline. Obviously, I had way too much, so there was an entire section that I cut. And then there's another section that, it was actually the last one. I'm only going to use it in like the ways that it kind of enmeshes with the giant midsection. So basically, I had to change everything, but also not change a whole lot. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm burnt out of doing this, even though I just freaking got started, and even though it's not even that long. I don't know. I don't like this program that much. Like, I know I sound really whiny, but I had such a better experience in undergrad. I was treated more like a sophisticated English student, and now I feel like I'm being treated like a friggin' baby, and I don't like it. And the thing is, too, my system before works great. Like, I went to a university with high standards. I won money for one of my papers. Like, I think I was doing just fine, but whatever. It's just one paper. I just need to suck it up. I think I'm just really overwhelmed because my wedding part 2 is this weekend, which is like the big party with the dress and everything. And guess what? My dress barely fits because I'm so bloated. So I want to diet. I'm trying to reduce inflammation. And I'm cranky. The PCOS is PCOSing. You know, yeah. And then, like, I mean, there's good things too, though, because I have family flying in. Like, my aunt's flying in from California today, and that's going to be super fun. And then, like, one of my best friends that I've ever had, who moved to Texas when we were little, and we still kept in touch. She's coming to visit tomorrow, and she's going to be here for, like, 4 days with me. So, like, there is a lot of good things going on. It's just, I don't know, it's overwhelming trying to get all the things done, especially because I want to be done with this draft before she gets here by tomorrow afternoon. So I have to go into an appointment, and then after that, I'm going to go home. I'm going to try to smash through the second half of this. And I know it probably sounds weird, like, oh, you're going to literally write this whole giant paper in like 2 sittings. But when you outline like I do, most of the work is already done. Not to toot my own horn, it's just my process, and it worked for me. It probably wouldn't work for other people. That's fine. But based on, you know, what I've done, obviously I front-loaded a lot of work first, so now it's just brain vomiting and making all the connections that I wanted to make, and then kind of polishing it. So yeah, I went to my favorite coffee shop for the first time literally all summer. It's so good already. I fear that this is the worst paper I've ever written.
it's just throwing me through a loop how short I have to make it. Like, I have to restructure the entire argument, and I'm just like, I don't think it's good. So what I'm doing, the professor posted, because it's due tonight, this first draft with the primary source cited, things that we should check for, and the things that I think that I really need to check for, I wrote down in my notebook, and I am making sure that those things are at least done. I feel like my evidence is good. I'm just losing track of why this matters and why I'm arguing in the first place. Yeah, let's edit. I'm sweating because I was just cleaning a bunch, but so today I'm writing the conclusion section, writing it straight through. I have a pretty solid game plan. It's been about a month in this fast track program, so after this step, I'm basically done. And all I have to do is take the professor's thoughts into consideration and do some revisions, and that's it. Thank God. Because I'm not gonna lie, I think I've just hit that point where I'm just tired of being in school. And there's pieces of my life I'm trying to get back. So one thing that's really good that's come out of this though, that's like unbeatable, is getting into the habit of working on this thesis every day has really done wonders to unlock the part of my brain that used to be able to write creatively all the time. Because I've talked about this a lot on this channel. That part of my brain has basically been asleep. Well, not asleep, but it's been taking some pretty hefty naps since COVID and stuff like that, and have been pretty burnt out since then. I've written like 6 poems in a few days, and I think that that's great, and I have really solid plans for finishing this poetry collection that I've been working off and on again since before the one I released. Like, this is the one I was really kind of starting to put together. At least I wrote a lot of a decent chunk of poems that would go into it. I didn't necessarily know how it was gonna fit together and stuff like that. So, Sunny says hi. Oh. Yeah, that was not a good shot of him, sorry. So, yeah. Basically in my spare time when I'm not working on this and I'm not doing specifically summer things, I'm working on that, and I might make a vlog about it, I don't know. So, yeah. Let's hammer out this conclusion because I'm ready to be done. Okay, so now it's time to revise. My process today, oh my God, that's so rude. Sunny, what do we do? Okay. My process for today, I printed out my professor's notes because she handwrites them and uploads. I printed them out, and what my system is when I make a correction based off of recommendations, I use I use an orange pen to check, right? And when I complete an entire page, I use a blue one at the top or the bottom or whatever, so offset. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if I'm stuck on one and I want to go back to it, it's easier for me to remember that there's something on the page if it doesn't have that blue check mark, rather than it gets lost in my sea of orange. Yeah. My brain is so fried. So what I did, I did some like handwritten edits on a printed version, and then I edited it on the desktop, the actual file. Then I got a peer review back and I read it, and I shouldn't have read it because I don't think the advice was ultimately that good. But then when you think that, you always second guess yourself. So I had to deal with that turmoil for a bit, and I don't know, I am a very good self-editor, and I gotta give myself credit for that. And so what I did was I printed it one more time. I did some written edits in Panera, and I think I know what I need to do now at home once I get onto the desktop again. And then I'm turning it in, and it's done because it's due tomorrow, and I want to turn it in today. I want it to be done. I want it to be over with. If I have to edit this one singular paper anymore, I might die. I just have other things to do with my life at this point. And like, I know I'm not going to fail. I know I'm going to get this degree, and at the end of the day, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm doing now, because I'm just kind of done. I'm so burnt out with this. So, yeah. Babe, I finished. I'm getting a master's degree.